Himanshu Mittal this side. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at JP Institute of Information Technology, Noida. In today's session, I will be talking about how we can define the functions, what is the syntax that we use in Python to define a function, and what are the various kinds of options are there while defining passing the arguments, and we will see how we can use the functions to in use with the plotting. So we will take some examples of plotting and we will see how we can use the functions along with the matplotlib library. So welcome you all. So first thing first, like what is a function and how we define a particular piece of code as a function. So a function is basically a set of statements that perform some kind of a particular task, or like a set of statements that are related to perform a particular task. And then if we organize those set of statements in a particular block, then we use say that that piece of block can be termed as a function, where the benefit of defining a function is that we can use that piece of block in a reusable mode. Like if we want to suppose we have an example of addition operator. So if we want to add two numbers, we can define a function and then we can use that particular function in any piece of code without rewriting that set of statements again and again. The as far as the uh, coding concepts, or the basically you can say the OOPS concept, it supports modularity and reusability feature. Fine. So in Python, to define basically whenever we have to call a function, we just need to call, or we just need to write the name of that function, and within a square bracket, within the normal brackets, we need to pass some parameters, or that we typically term as arguments. Depending upon the type of result we want, we pass that particular type of argument, and depending upon the function, we also decide whether to pass the argument or not. For example, if we take an example here, like x, I have defined as 3, and then I'm calling the print statement. Now, generally, we do not consider as we do not go into the details how print statement is working in a Python, but print is a function in itself. Like print is a predefined function in Python that we use to print something on to get the output on the screen. So basically, here is we are calling a predefined function that is print, and in the arguments we are passing x, some particular arguments, that is x, x plus 1, and x dot star x. Like if I show you on by running this statement, so the output will be something like this, that here first I define the value of x, then I'm calling the printf function, sorry, the print function, and I'm passing argument like x, x star. So you got we get the output 369. Now it is like, as we know, print can take any set of arguments. So by default, the print has been defined internally in such a way that user can pass any set of arguments. Like if I pass now in the same print x into x star 2, the output is 3 comma 6. So variable inputs can be passed, and if we are single in argument, then we just pass it in this way, and if we have multiple arguments, then we use the comma. And this particular way of calling a particular function follows is defined for any predefined function that we have in a Python. Fine. So similar to print, we can use any predefined function that we want to. print, like if we input, if you have seen, input is also a function that we basically use to take some input from the user. Like if I say a equals to input, enter a value, then this is also a, suppose I pass 2. Now if I print a, then I got the value as 2 as a string in a. Now this input is also a function. Now generally input doesn't have a second argument, so we do not pass any second argument. It has only a single argument, so that's why we write on whenever we use input, we pass only single argument in it. So the syntax of calling any particular function is similar to the syntax that I have used. But which function takes how many arguments, that depends upon its definition, and to get to know that, we need to check out the definition of that particular function. Uh, like here I have shown the max function that basically takes some arguments which returns particular value. Like if I pass 42 and 17, and whatever is the maximum value will be returned by this function, so it is 177. And so basically Python, and the Python gives, or basically provides, a lot of predefined functions, inbuilt functions that we can use to perform the various tasks. But apart from predefined functions, it also gives the user the flexibility to define its own functions that we use that we generally term as user-defined functions. So basically, in Python, there are two types of functions we can say. One is the inbuilt functions or the predefined functions. The second is the user-defined functions. So I have shown you examples of inbuilt functions like printf, max, input. So these are all inbuilt functions. Now to define a user-defined function, we need to follow a particular syntax, or you can say we need to follow some rules to define a user-defined function. So the syntax to define a function is, or a user-defined function is, first we need to use a keyword def. Now def is a keyword that basically indicates that whatever be the definition that will be coming ahead will be considered as a part of a function. Now def, then we write the function name, like you can name it as according to your requirement, or according to your style. Like if I want to name a particular function as sum, then it is, we can name a particular function as sum, but it is better to give a unique name that may or may not you think will exist in the predefined functions. Like if there is a predefined function max and I also name it as max, then there will not be an error, but it is not preferred, or it is not preferred style of coding. It is always better to name to give a function a unique name that 99% doesn't exist in your predefined libraries. So we give a user defined name to a function. Then after this, we in the in the normal brackets, we pass the parameters that we will be using in the definition of a function. And the last thing is the colon. So basically, this is the first line that any user, whenever you are defining a function, you need to define that. That is def, that is a keyword, space, your function name, that depends upon user's requirement, and then in the brackets you can pass the parameters, and last thing is a colon. So one thing more, the parameters are optional. If you think that your function definition is not requiring any kind of data processing or any kind of input from the user, then you can skip the parameter part. But yeah, you need to write these braces with an empty input. Like you can pass simple def function name, open bracket, closing bracket, without defining any parameters, and colon. So parameters are optional. But the other things, that is def, function name, the open and closing bracket, and colon, these are the necessary part or necessary syntax while defining a user defined function. After this, we define the body of the function, and the body of the function depends upon the number of statements that you want to define. You can define single statement, or you can define multiple statements, but that depends upon your requirement. But the type of but the number of statements that are intended sorry that are intended within the function definition will be considered as a part of the body of the function. Like in C or C++, we use the curly braces to define the body. Here we do not use the curly braces. We define the body by using the indentation. So like here, I have shown you an example where I have defined a function greet. So the function name is greet. So the syntax is def is a keyword, then greet, that I gave it a name greet, and then name is a parameter that I'm using in my function definition. So that's why I have passed a parameter greet, and with that has been passed in the open and closing brackets, and then colon. So this part, the first statement, is the necessary thing. Then whatever I have given below this particular line, the first line, that is considered as a part of the function definition. In the So like here, the first three lines are defined as a comment. So like they are given in the triple quotes and closed in a triple quote. So they are forming the comment section of this function. And then the last statement of this function is print statement. Print, and in the print I have passed hello plus name plus good morning. So basically, if you are aware, plus basically performs the functionality of concatenating the strings. So basically here we are basically applying plus between the strings, so it will concatenate those strings, and name is being passed without the double quotes or single quotes. So this means the name, whatever will be the value of name, will be passed to at this particular location. And that's it. That's a definition of the greet function. And the next statement, that is greet, and in the single quotes I am passing the Paul as a argument. So this corresponds to the calling statement of this greet function. Now why this is not treated as a part of the greet function or the definition of the greet function? Because it is not in this particular statement is not intended as the previous statement of the previous statement, that is the print statement. If you look at the print statement, it is intended, but the greet statement is not intended. So whatever statement I write in an intended fashion, that will be considered as a part of the greet function. Once I define a statement that is not intended, the function definition will automatically end there. Now whenever I run this, the output will be hello Paul dot good morning. So let me show you here. Like if I define a function def, I take the same function, read name, and by colon, press enter. Basically, any Python compiler will automatically understand whenever we define an def, that means the next line user will be defining the body of the function. If you want, if you want to skip, if you do not want to define a particular body, then it's better to use a particular keyword that is provided in Python, named as parse. So parse keyword is used generally when we do not have to define any particular, when we do not have to define the body of a function. Like instead of skipping any statement, it's better to write the pass keyword. So it will automatically mean that whenever we call the greet function, the compiler will understand that this greet function doesn't have any kind of body or any particular statements that the compiler needs to process. So like here, if I call this function greet, let's see what will happen. Like I then if I run this and suppose I am calling uh, print, then a print statement, I'm calling the greet function. So see the output is none. Like means when the greet function when we call this function, the controller goes to the greet function. Then it saw a pass. Pass is a predefined keyword in is a keyword in Python. So basically, there's nothing to process. So the controller comes back and just print none. That is none. Nothing has been processed and nothing has been returned by this function. Now, suppose if I define some body in this, then I will write like here we have used a triple quotes. So this function reads fine. So I'm just writing a single comment only. Now here if I write hello plus name plus single quotes dot good morning. And now if I suppose this is the statement, I'm writing a print statement in this and calling this function with passing the argument as hi. So you can see the output is hello, hi, dot, good morning. Now you can like if I basically give some space to get now you can see the output is hello, hi, good morning. So this is the output that we received. Now now if suppose if I would have passed print, like if I would have passed this function in a print statement, then what would have been the output? Would the output be this one that we received in the previous statement, or it will be something else? If you run this, you will see that you will receive two outputs. The first output is corresponding to the print statement that we have defined within the greet function, and the second output, that is none, is basically the output of the greet function. That is whatever, like what value the greet function has returned to the print function that that we are defined outside the greet function. And as such, we have not written any return statement in the greet function, so that's why it has not returned anything, and that's why the output is none. I hope uh, I'm pretty much clear in how we can define the particular user defined functions. So to basically give you some more concrete example, I have defined another function that is an absolute underscore value function. This basically checks if the value is greater than zero, then we can pass then we return this number as it is. If the number is less than zero, then we return the negative of that number. Like now here I am defining the return statement, like if I write this particular function again, um, if num is greater than equals to 0, num return -1. Now, the thing that I want to basically clear out is that in the previous function, that is greet, we did not have defined any return statement. And in this particular absolute underscore value function, we have defined the return statement. So this means that return statement is also an optional statement. Like we do not need to write the return statement whenever we define a function. So depending upon the requirement, you can either define or you can return a value, or you can skip returning a value. But unlike C, we can return multiple values in Python. So just remember that. Now if I call this function pass a positive value like 2, and the output will be 2. Now if I pass negative 2, so if I pass the value as negative 2, it should have passed me. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. So like if we have like it was basically, yeah, basically it was basically making like if the value is negative, so it will add a minus sign to it, and minus minus will become positive. So if I press -4, it will return me the positive value, that is 4. So this way, this basically we this function is basically performing the fetching the absolute value of a particular number. In Python, we have a predefined function in this, that is ABS function that we can use. But here we have defined our own function to perform the same thing. But just remember that the function name is unique. It is different from, it should not be similar to any predefined function that we have in our Python library, because it will create conflict while compiling the function. So it's better or it's safer to define a function that has a name that 99% is not similar to any particular function that we have in our Python library. Now, one important thing that is regarding the functions is whenever we pass arguments to a function, they are always passed as a reference variables, or you can say like in C we are there are two ways to pass a particular value, or you can say that there are two options to pass parameters to a function, that is called by value and called by reference. In Python, we have just a single option, and that is we pass the arguments by reference only. We do not pass the values as call by value. So just remember that. And as per the actual definition of pass call by value or call by value, sorry, as per the actual definition of call by reference, means that any particular change that we make inside a particular function in a variable, then that change will get reflected outside the outside the function also. So the same definition stands in Python also, that if we make any particular change in a within a function to an argument or to an argument variable, then the same change will get reflected outside the function definition also. But just remember that if the argument is mutable, then that change will be reflected outside the function. If the argument is immutable, that is, we cannot make any changes because it has a data type that is immutable, like uh, like string or tuple. If we want to make any change to a tuple variable inside a function, then that change will not be reflected outside the function definition. If we are making changes to a list or a dictionary, then that change will be reflected outside the function definition also. So to make you more clear, I have I have considered an example where the function is named as change me, and here I am passing a list variable named as my list, and I'm basically appending some values to this list, that is 1 2 3 4, and then I'm printing the my list, and then I'm just returning the same variable. uh, then outside the function I'm basically defining again a variable my list that contains 10 20 and 3 30, and calling the change me function by passing the my list as a variable. And whenever I run this, you can see the output, expected output is this one. So let me show you here by coding this thing so that you can be more clear. So like if I define def, one thing more, like in C, we need to, like in C, we do not need to define the output arguments in Python. Like in any, we just need to write the return statement. We do not need to write the output arguments. That what is the or in general any programming language like in Java, Python, or sorry, Java, MATLAB, or C, C++, we need to define the number of output arguments. In Python, we do not need to define that. We just need to define the output arguments in the return statement only. The Python, whenever we call the function, automatically those functions, those output arguments will be assigned to the returning statement or to the calling statement. So like if I write change me, same, I'm using the same definition. I'm passing my list as a variable, and I'm calling my list dot append, and suppose I append the same set of values, that is 1 2 3 and 4, and then if I print my list, okay, and let's return this thing, return my list, okay. So I'm returning the my list as an output argument, but I'm not defining it during the declaration or in the first statement. I'm not defining the output argument in the first statement of the function definition. So let me now, outside the function, I'm defining a new variable, suppose L1. Let me name it as L1 and define with some values 10, 30 and 20 and 30. Let's call the function change me with some values, that is L1, and let's assign it to L1 only. If I print L1, let's write this statement before calling the function. Now, like flow of the program is we define our list, take it to another cell. Suppose this is a function definition. Now let me define the function, say a program, that is L1. L1 is containing some values 10, 20 and 30. Then we print the L1. Whatever with the values in L1 will get printed. Then we pass the L1 to the change me function, and we assign the output of this function to again to the same variable, that is L1, and then we print again the values. Now if I run, see the output is first output corresponds to the first print statement. The next print output corresponds to the print statement that we have used inside our function, and the last print statement corresponds to the the last output statement corresponds to the print statement that we have used in the last of the in the last, that is print L1, that is after calling the function change me. So like you can see, I made the changes inside the function, and they are getting reflected outside the function. So now let's call the same thing. Suppose I'm calling the same thing, and like let me show you the simple example, like variables in a like let me define another function int me var. So suppose var1, I'm defining another function where I will be passing a single variable, and I will be basically making some changes to that particular variable, and we'll see what changes are like, and we'll see by calling this function whether the change are reflected outside the function or not. So like if I pass var1 equals to var1 plus 10 and print var1, fine. Now I write return var1, fine. So this is the function definition. It has nicely got executed. Now I define a equals to 20 and equals to change b where a, and then I am writing the print statement, print a. Print the value of a before calling this function. Now if I run this particular statement, will there be changes in the a1 value? If I run this, yes, there are changes in the a value. That is the first that we got 20, then 30. That is the change that after making the changes within the function. Then again we got 30 because we are returning the value of a and assigning it to the a variable, and then we are printing. Now suppose if I skip this thing, like skip the return statement, fine. So like here, if I do this, now what should be the expected value of a outside the function? Like if I run this, you will see the outside the function, the value of a is still 20. Means the flow of the program is, first we define a as 20, then we print the value of a, then we pass the value of a to our function, that is change me where 10 was added to this particular value and it was printed, and because of which we received the value as 30. Now after calling the function, I again print the value of a outside the function. The value of a that we received that we got out in the output is 20. That means the value of a has not changed by the function. So this means that now this means, like, first let me show you one more thing. If I perform the same thing in our previous function, that where we were adding some values to our list, and if I basically comment the return statement, now if I print this, now what should be the expected value? It should it be similar to the previous output, that is while we are passing the variable. If I run this, you will see no, it is not Similar to the previous output, the appended values are also getting reflected outside the function. So now same concept but different outputs. Like here we were passing a variable, there was no change outside the function. Here we are passing list, and the values that we appended within the function are getting reflected outside the function also. So why is this? This is because L1 is a list, which is a mutable variable or a mutable data type, while your var or a variable is an immutable variable, and that's why the changes doesn't get reflected outside the function. So just remember that the values, the arguments are passed by call by reference in Python, but the changes that we make within the function will be reflected if the input argument or the argument that we pass is mutable. If it is immutable, the out the variable outside this function definition will not change. Fine. So this thing. Now let's use this same concept to plot, to perform plotting. So like I have considered some example, and that we will use to plot some figures. Like here, let me first explain you the plotting code. Then we will use it through the call by passing it to the function, then plotting it. Like here, I have used matplotlib. First, I have imported the matplotlib library and a numpy library, and I have defined a data that is ranging from 0.5. Sorry, that is ranging from 0 to 5 at a difference of 0.2, and then I have plotted some value. These data as three plots at 3 lines. So let me code this here, and then let me show you. Lib as plt import np data equals to np.range 0.5, 0.2. Then I'm calling the plot. So inside the plot, basically what I'm doing, I'm passing 3 lines. The first line is corresponding to data and data. That means the x and y values are same. The next values are data space data square. So this is basically y value corresponds to the square of the data, and the third line is corresponding to the cube of the data. So if I call this here, it will be data space from data, and uh, I'm changing the line style with the red color. Then the third line I'm passing as, sorry, it's the second line I'm passing as data comma data square, and I'm giving it a color blue with the square marker. Then the third line I'm defining is data comma data cube. Fine. And let's color it with the green color, and the marker style is triangle. Now first, like, let me import the matplotlib inline. Matplotlib is inline. Okay. So, yeah, this is the function definition. Now if I run plot.py, you can see this is a plot. So the same thing we will be using the now basically now the same piece of code we will define within a function, and we will call the plotting function by passing some data as an argument. So to do so, let's define a function. Let me use the same define a function that is plot fig and pass pass a parameter that is data. The definition of this function is similar to the previous statement. That is, the definition is basically we are using the same definition, that is we are plotting three lines. The first is data comma data, the second line is data comma data square, and the third line is data comma data cube. Now I'm defining data as np dot a range as 0.5 point a difference of 0.2. Let's see first whether we get the same figure or not. And it's called plot fig. Pass the data. Let's see. It's saying, oh, let's see. So you can see we are getting the same output. So this way you can use the plot function, or you can define your plot function inside a function, or you can say basically you can call your plot functions this way. Now suppose if I change the input values, like if I pass 0,2, then I am having output something like this. Now if I increase this, suppose 10, I will have output something like this. So the usability of function is like the usability of using of you or defining a function is we can use the same function definition again and again repeatedly without redefining the definition of that particular function. So like if I suppose if I need to plot the scatter plot, so let me define another function like scatter plot, scatter fig, and pass the value as data, and inside this we will write plt dot scatter function. Basically we use the scatter function to plot the scatter plot. So here I'm basically using the same definition that we have used in our example here, this thing. So I will A, B, C stands for color, and S stands for size of the points that will get plotted. And the last argument is data, and this basically now just remember that the last argument that I pass in this particular statement is an optional statement. Like here, yeah, single quotes A, single quotes B, single quotes C, and single quotes D are are the are the fields of a dictionary. Like basically here, I will be passing a dictionary to this particular function, and A, B, C, D are the fields of those of that dictionary. So that's why here I have used first I have used a field name C and D, and lastly I have defined an argument that is defining the name of the dictionary variable, that is the data. If you want to skip this, you can use syntax something like this: data data C, data B, data A. You can define your scatter plot like this. This is the function definition. Now let's define our data. So to define a dictionary, I will use single curly braces. Within the curly braces, let's define the first key as A and give it some values. Np dot range 50. Then let's define the second field, that is B colon np dot random dot rand int 0 comma 50 comma 50 comma, let's define third field, that is D, which contains random values of rand n. That's it. That's a definition. That's a definition of the dictionary. Now let's manipulate values of our dictionary, that is the values in B corresponds to this 10 into np dot random dot rand and 50. Then I'm defining another. Okay, sorry. The fields in the data is A, C, and D. I have defined another field of my data dictionary like this, where I have defined a B field and assigned some values. And next, I'm basically manipulating some values in the D field by taking the absolute of take values of D and multiplying them with 100. Now, next I'm calling a scatter plot fig, and passing the dictionary. Now it is saying that, okay, okay, let me use the same statement here first. Yeah, okay, so this way we have plotted the data. Now the mistake that I did was I was using the dictionary variable as it is, but in scatterplot it is not possible. Like in scatterplot, if we are passing a dictionary, we just need to pass the field. We just need to name the fields as use the field names in the arguments, and that as an optional argument we need to define the name of the variable that we are passing. That is, here I'm passing in data, so variable dictionary variable is data. Suppose if I name it as data1, suppose data2, sorry, and let's run it again. Then you can see we have achieved the same output. So this, in the scatter plot, the last argument is basically used to define the name of the dictionary variable. And inside the scatter plot, we are using the fields of the dictionary. If in case we are passing a list, then we just need to pass the list variables. Then there is no need to use the last field or the last argument or the last argument that we have used here. So this way you can basically use the function, and suppose if I need to make some changes and plot the same thing again. Suppose if I say that my values will now range from 1 to 5. So now you can see we have received a different scatter plot. So here the values were ranging from 0 to 15. Now here the values are ranging from 0 to 5. So you can see the structure of the code is very readable. Like I have here, I have used a function. I have called the scatter function, that is calling the same piece of code that I was using while printing the values from 1 to 50. Fine. So this is the usability, that by using functions we can achieve different functions. We can manipulate our data and just pass the data to our function definition without making any change in the function definition. So this benefits in two benefits. That is, it makes the code more readable. It makes the code more easy to change, and it makes function and defining using functions makes the user to avail, or basically to basically hide the complexity behind performing a particular task. So that's it for this session. In the next session, I will be continuing with further with the. I will be continuing with my sorry with some with other options of function declaration. That is, what are the different types of arguments that we have. And in the next session I will that is tomorrow, I will be covering about how to import like what are the syntax to import some predefined libraries in the Python. And that's it for today. And if you have any questions, any query regarding the things that I have discussed, you can ask me in the chat window.